Well, hello there. What a fine Saturday for talking about a soundtrack, don't you think? That's right, folks. We're back with Soundtrack Saturday this week, and it only made sense to do the original Pikmin the same justice I did to its sequel. For those not in the know, let me bring you up to speed. In the original Pikmin, Captain Olimar crash lands on PNF 404, otherwise known as the Distant Planet, and the many pieces to his ship go sprawling across the land. To make matters worse, Hokatations find oxygen toxic, and Olimar's life support system only gives him 30 days to find all the missing ship pieces and escape. Otherwise, it's game over. So, for the next 30 days, you traverse the landscape with your dedicated squad of Pikmin for your life. Sounds fun, right? The game gives me mad time anxiety, but hey, at least the music's good. And what better song to start with than the title theme itself? It's a Pikmin franchise icon, even though it only appears in this game. It's very natural sounding, isn't it? The principal beat is very simple and allows the main tune to really take over, sounding a lot like some kind of jungle woodwind instrument. To really accentuate the fact that you will be traversing a completely wild planet with nothing but the help of indigenous creatures who could have very well turned on you the minute you snatched them out the ground, ambient noises of nature can be heard throughout the track too. Despite the obvious danger Olimar is in while on the planet, this song doesn't sound like there's a lot of a looming threat going on at all times. Quite the contrary, it's rather peaceful and whimsical. This is attributed more to the Pikmin's usually peaceful nature, and I'm all the way here for it. The impact site, as the name suggests, is where Olimar crashed on the planet. It serves as a tutorial stage of the game, and even when you return later, there is very little in the way of truly threatening enemies to contend with here. This makes it a very easy level to clean out on ship parts. At its base, the track is a curious piece ripe for exploring with very little to worry about. And that's the point. Mind you, just like with Pikmin 2, area themes have different variations depending on what's going on. The impact site track does have a battle variant, which incorporates a snare drum to augment the feeling of danger, but even then this version only sounds like the battle is more of a challenge than really a risk. Out of the 3 enemies you can encounter here, Mamuda, Pearly Clamps, and the Gulix, only the Gulix is really a threat. Sure, the Pearly Clamps can kill and eat your Pikmin, but only if you let them. So, with that in mind, why would the music go in any other direction than this? Yes, I am talking about the area selection music. Not really sure what I should be showing you while talking about this, but enjoy it nonetheless. A panoramic view starts out relatively quiet before slowly building into an intrepid tune that still doesn't hint at the peril Olimar is perpetually in here. Heck, most of the song is downright upbeat and cheery. Once you know the tune, you can't help but hum along to it because it's just so good. I like to think this song alludes to the Pikmin as well. Pikmin are, generally speaking, pretty low on the food chain on their planet, which is why they're so quick to take commands from Olimar. Once he shows up, it's like there's new hope for the Pikmin species, who are now able to topple walls, kill predators, and even use explosives to their advantage. Sure, Olimar may be fighting for his life, but this is a golden opportunity as far as the Pikmin are concerned, hence the need for some happy and hopeful music. This track is so peaceful that you're almost tempted to forget that there are plenty of things ready to kill you and your Pikmin here. Olimar dubbed this area the Forest of Hope because it was the first area with tons of ship parts, which gave him hope that he may survive this debacle of a space trip. The forest is very serene, having daylight flooding constantly through what I assume are the trees way above you. The fighting variant of the track adds hand drums to ramp up the feeling of battle just a little. But even then, the main tune is still front and center. That's probably for the best. The Forest Hope is by no means the impact site in terms of difficulty, but it does offer a bit more of a challenge in the way of enemies and puzzles. So yes, you do have more things to contend with here, but you're still relatively in the clear. Every game has that one level you absolutely cannot stand. For me, it's the Forest Naval. First and foremost, it's dark as hell here. You can't see much of anything as far as peripheral vision goes, except for the occasional spouts of fire out in the distance, which doesn't necessarily bring me any comfort. But okay, cool, it's dark, whatever. While playing this game all the way through for the purposes of footage of this video, I was reminded that bread bugs do in fact exist in the original Pikmin. This piece of crap works hard too. The minute you drop an enemy here, comes this jerk to collect the carcass and not apologize for it. Screw you, says the bread bug, but even that is a small nuisance. What really grinds my gears about this place is the farthest reaches of it, where glow caps can be found thriving. In this area lurks an annoying quote-unquote boss of sorts, known as a puffstool. At first glance, this glorified truffle doesn't look like much. Hell, he'll actually run away from you and faceplant into the dirt the first time you send Pikmin out for the attack. The problem emerges when he rights himself back up. Dude puffs out a cloud of purple spores that infect your Pikmin, turning them purple, sprouting mushrooms from their heads, and causing them to do the puffstool's bidding. And what is the harmless puffstool's bidding, you ask? Attacking Olimar. That's right, the puffstool brainwashes your Pikmin to attack you instead of it, then promptly die after they attack you. That's some truly evil stuff, man. It makes me dread finishing this level every single time. And the music sure does not help. Whoever is playing that banjo is going hard on those strings and doing their best to make you feel like this is the cave version of the Wild Wild West. Which it is. This ain't the woods anymore, the song proclaims. You in enemy territory now, and if the fires, frogs, and water don't kill you, your own hijacked Pikmin sure will. Yes sir, miss me with it. Yeah, as if the forest navel didn't have enough water in it, the game throws a distant spring at you next. In addition to being a constant drowning threat to your red and yellow Pikmin, the distant spring harbors many more dangers. The track does a good job of ramping up that general feeling of discomfort. The song is very mysterious and ethereal, making you feel like something is just off about this place. The obvious things being the significant threats only this area will mercilessly hit you with. Not 10 feet from your landing site sleeps a spotty bullbear. Dude sleeps with his bloodshot eyes open, so you can't actually sneak up on it, and it gobbles up a lot of Pikmin in one bite. Next, you have the puffy blowhog, a giant thing that blows your Pikmin down to the ground. Granted, it's not really that big of a threat, but the first time people play this, its spiky floating body was a most unwelcome surprise. But none of those enemies really seem that mysterious. The song sounds like the area is hiding something, and these things are in plain sight, right? Well, if you manage to make it to this area by or before day 15 and then venture out to the little cluster of islands out in the middle of the water, you'll encounter a giant red egg. Attack it a little, and out will pop the smoky prog. You might as well not ask me what this thing is, I couldn't tell you. Olimar at best only has a weak theory as to its origins, and even he thinks it's mutagenic. It's creepy, with its glowing eyes, lack of any real form, and a trailing cloud of highly poisonous gas. Yep, you don't even get a chance to save your Pikmin if they come into contact with that stuff. Their souls leave their body on contact. What's worse, the prog immediately makes a beeline for the landing site, and if there are any Pikmin currently minding their business in the ground, the prog promptly uproots them, only to suffocate them too. Sure, once you kill it, it drops a golden pearl, which produces 100 Pikmin, but like, the hell was that? That's the vibe the track gives, and for good reason. The aptly named Final Trial is the very last area you have to deal with in the game. The only enemy here is the final boss, but the level will challenge your knowledge of all 3 Pikmin types before you go up against the big bad. Seeing as the level is pretty much just a big old puzzle, it only follows that the music sounds a bit upbeat and curious. Granted, the impact site can also be described as upbeat and curious, and it's nothing like this, right? If that's what you were thinking, good point. The level is a culmination of all the hard work you've done to make it to this point, and now, only a few puzzles and one last boss stand between Olimar and sweet, sweet freedom. At this point, things have gotten real. They're so close, and this is the music's way of saying, just one more push to the finish. It's almost cheering you on through this trial, and boy, when you finally clear those puzzles and make it to the final boss, you'll need all the cheering you can get, even if only in musical form. gone are the cheery tunes you've been working to. It's time to fight for your life. The final boss is the Emperor Bulblax, who, unlike the Emperor Bulblaxes in Pikmin 2, is a genuine threat. He's the only thing standing between you and the final ship part, and he will not make getting to it easy. Hence why someone is going absolutely stupid on this organ. Not just hitting those keys hard, but laying on those notes. It holds nothing back. Neither does the Bulblax. First and foremost, for first-time players, you might accidentally overlook him in the boss arena, seeing as he's almost completely submerged in the sand with only what appears to be a mossy rock sitting there. And God help you if you did decide to overestimate the rock sitting in the middle of the arena and walk near it. Oh dear God! Exactly. The Bulblax erupts from the earth in the most evil move any member of the Grub Dog family could do. If it's not throwing out its unnaturally long tongue in an attempt to eat every last Pikmin you have, it's trying to crush them to death. It has a lot of health, and you'll be hard-pressed to defeat it without getting it to stupidly consume bomb rocks. It's a tough fight, and as I always say, epic final boss battles deserve epic final boss music. And with that, Soundtrack Saturday is done, everybody. What did you guys think? Let me know down in the comments which track is your favorite. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, toss a couple Pikmin at the like button. And until next time, you guys, peace.